Hello everyone, thank you again so much for joining me today for another relaxing Bible reading. And obviously I am kind of using a soft spoken voice because I want it to be very relaxing, if you haven't noticed that yet. But anyways, today I'm going to be reading through the book of Daniel, chapter 6, 9, and 10. At the beginning of each year, I, along with a lot of you, probably like to do fasting and prayer. So I thought this is a great example. Daniel's a great example. So anyways, we'll get right into it. And I am reading from the Amplified Translation, just in case you are wondering. So, Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. It says, Daniel serves Darius. It seemed good to Darius, who became king after Belshazzar, to appoint over the kingdom 120 satraps, who would be in charge throughout the kingdom, and over them 3 chief commissioners, of whom Daniel was one, that these satraps might be, I hope I'm saying that right, accountable to them, so that the king would have no loss from disloyalty or mismanagement. Then this Daniel, because of the extraordinary spirit within him, began distinguishing himself among the commissioners and the satraps. And the king planned to appoint him over the entire realm. Then the other 2 commissioners and the satraps began trying to find a reason to bring a complaint against Daniel concerning the administration of the kingdom. But they could find no reason for an accusation or evidence of corruption, because he was faithful, a man of high moral character and personal integrity, and no negligence or corruption of any kind was found in him. Then these men said, "We will not find any basis for an accusation against this Daniel, unless we find something against him in connection with the law of his God." Then these commissioners and satraps agreed to approach the king and said to him, "King Darius, live forever. All the commissioners of the kingdom, the prefects and the satraps, the counselors and the governors, have consulted and agreed together that the king should establish a royal statute and enforce an injunction that anyone who petitions, prays to any god or man besides you, O king, during the next 30 days shall be thrown into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the injunction and sign the document, so that it may not be changed, in accordance with the law of the Medes and the Persians, which ensures that it may not be altered or revoked." So King Darius signed the document, that is, the injunction. Now, when Daniel knew that the document was signed, he went into his house. Now in his roof chamber, his windows were open toward Jerusalem. He continued to get down on his knees 3 times a day, praying and giving thanks before his God, and as he had been doing previously. Then, by agreement, these men came together and found Daniel praying and making requests before his God. Then they approached and spoke before the king regarding his injunction. "Have you not signed an injunction that anyone who petitions, prays to any god or man except you, O king, within the designated 30 days, is to be thrown into the den of lions?" The king answered, "The statement is true, in accordance with the law of the Medes and Persians, which may not be altered or revoked." Then they answered and said before the king, "Daniel, who is one of the exiles from Judah, does not pay any attention to you, O king, or to the injunction which you have signed, but keeps praying to his God 3 times a day." Then, as soon as the king heard these words, he was deeply distressed over what he had done, and set his mind on rescuing Daniel. And he struggled until the sun went down, trying to work out a way to save him. Then, by agreement, these same men came to the king and said, "Know, O king, that it is a law of the Medes and Persians that no injunction or statute which the king establishes may be altered or revoked." Daniel in the lion's den. Then the king gave a command, and Daniel was brought and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you consistently serve, rescue you himself." A stone was brought and laid over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring and with the signet rings of his nobles, so that nothing would be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting, and no music or entertainment was brought before him, and he remained unable to sleep. Then the king arose at dawn, at the break of day, and hurried to the den of lions. When he had come near the den, he called out to Daniel with a troubled voice. The king said to Daniel, "O Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you consistently serve, been able to rescue you from the lions?" Then Daniel spoke to the king, "O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the mouths of the lions, so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him, and also before you, O king. I have committed no crime." Then the king was greatly pleased and ordered that Daniel be taken out of the den. So Daniel was taken out of the den, and no injury whatsoever was found on him, because he believed in and relied on and trusted in God. The king then gave a command, and those men who had maliciously accused Daniel were brought and thrown into the den of lions, they, their children, and their wives. And before they reached the bottom of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. Then Darius the king wrote to all the peoples, nations, and speakers of every language who were living in all the land, "May peace abound to you. I issue a decree that in all the dominion of my kingdom, men are to reverently fear and tremble before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, enduring and steadfast forever, and his kingdom is one which will not be destroyed, and his dominion will be forever. He rescues and saves and performs signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He who has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." So this man Daniel prospered and enjoyed success in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. I love that. That's so encouraging. to know that God is faithful. He is so faithful when we are faithful to Him, even if it looks dark and gloomy like Daniel in Daniel's situation. He was thrown into a den of lions, but the Lord protected him, kept him safe, and it was a testimony to everyone who got to witness it as well. Daniel chapter 9. Daniel's prayer for his people. In the year of Darius, the son of Ahasuerus of Median descent, who was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood from the books the number of years, which according to the word of the Lord to Jeremiah the prophet, must pass before the desolations which had been pronounced on Jerusalem would end, and it was 70 years. So I directed my attention to the Lord God to seek Him by prayer and supplications, with fasting, sackcloth, and ashes. I prayed to the Lord my God and confessed and said, O Lord, the great and awesome God, who keeps His covenant and extends loving kindness toward those who love Him and keep His commandments. We have sinned and committed wrong and have behaved wickedly and have rebelled, turning away from your commandments and ordinances. Further, we have not listened to and heeded your servants, the prophets, who spoke in your name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. Righteousness belongs to you, O Lord, but to us confusion and open shame, as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel, those who are nearby and those who are far away, in all the countries to which you have driven them, because of the treacherous acts of unfaithfulness which they have committed against you. O Lord, to us belong confusion and open shame, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against you. To the Lord our God belong mercy and loving kindness and forgiveness, for we have rebelled against Him. We have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God by walking in His laws, which He set before us through His servants the prophets. Yes, all Israel has transgressed your law, even turning aside, not obeying your voice. So the curse has been poured out on us in the oath which is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against Him. And He has carried out completely His threatening words which He had spoken against us and against our rulers, the kings, princes, and judges who ruled us, to bring on us a great tragedy. For under the whole heaven there has not been done anything so dreadful like that which He commanded and was done to Israel, to Jerusalem. Just as it is written in the law of Moses, all this tragedy has come on us, yet we have not wholeheartedly begged for forgiveness and sought the favor of the Lord our God by turning from our wickedness and paying attention to and placing value in your truth. Therefore, the Lord has kept the tragedy ready and has brought it on us, for the Lord our God is uncompromisingly righteous and openly just in all his works which he has done. He keeps his word, and we have not obeyed his voice. And now, O Lord our God, who brought your people out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and who made for yourself a name as it is today, we have sinned, we have been wicked, O Lord, in accordance with your righteous and just acts. Please let your anger and your wrath turn away from your city, Jerusalem, your holy mountain, because our sins and the wickedness of our fathers, Jerusalem and your people, have become an object of scorn and contemptuous byword to all who are around us. Now, therefore, our God, listen to, heed the prayer of your servant Daniel and his supplications. For your own sake, let your face shine upon your desolate sanctuary. O my God, incline your ear and hear. Open your eyes and look at our desolations in the city which is called by your name. For we are not presenting our supplications before you because of our own merits and righteousness, but because of your great mercy and compassion. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, listen and take action. Do not delay for your own sake, O my God, because your city and your people are called by your name. Gabriel brings an answer. Verse 20. While I was still speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God in behalf of the holy mountain of my God, while I was still speaking in prayer and extremely exhausted, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in an earlier vision, came to me about the time of the evening sacrifice. He instructed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I have now come to give you insight and wisdom and understanding. At the beginning of your supplications, the command to give you an answer was issued, and I have come to tell you, for you are highly regarded and greatly beloved. Therefore, consider the message and begin to understand the meaning of the vision. 70 weeks and the Messiah. Verse 24. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and for your holy city Jerusalem, to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make atonement, reconciliation for wickedness, to bring an everlasting righteousness, right standing with God, to seal up vision and prophesy and prophet, and to anoint the most holy place. So you are to know and understand that the issuance of the command to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the coming of the Messiah, the Anointed One, the Prince, there will be 7 weeks of years and 62 weeks. It will be built again with a city plaza and moat, even in times of trouble. Then after the 62 weeks, the Anointed One will be cut off and denied his messianic kingdom, and have nothing and no one to defend him. And the people of the other prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. Its end will come with a flood. Even to the end there will be war. Desolations are determined, and he will enter into the binding and irrevocable covenant with the many for 1 week. But in the middle of the week he will stop and sacrifice and grain offering for the remaining 3.5 years. And on the wing of the abominations will come one who makes desolate, even until the complete destruction, one that is decreed, is poured out on the one who causes the horror. Daniel 10. Daniel is terrified by a vision. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who was named Belteshazzar. And the message was true and referred to great conflict, war, misery. And he understood the message and had an understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. I ate no tasty food, nor did any meat or wine enter my mouth, and I did not anoint, refresh, or groom myself at all for the full 3 weeks. On the 24th day of the 1st month, I was on the bank of the great river Tigris. I raised my eyes and looked, and behold, there was a certain man dressed in linen, whose loins were girded with a belt of pure Uphaz. His body also was like beryl with a golden luster. His face had the appearance of lightning. His eyes were like flaming torches. His arms and his feet like the gleam of burnished bronze. And the sound of his words was like the noise of a multitude of people, or the roaring of the sea. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision of this heavenly being, for the men who were with me did not see the vision. Nevertheless, a great panic overwhelmed them, so they ran away to hide themselves. So I was left alone and saw this great vision, yet no strength was left in me, for my normal appearance turned to a deathly pale, and I grew weak and faint with fright. Then I heard the sound of his words, and when I heard the sound of his words, I fell on my face in a deep sleep, and my face toward the ground. Daniel comforted. Then behold, a hand touched me and set me unsteadily on my hands and knees. So he said to me, O Daniel, you highly regarded and greatly beloved man, understand the words that I am about to say to you and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. And while he was saying this word to me, I stood up trembling. Then he said to me, do not be afraid, Daniel, for from this day that you set your heart on understanding this and on humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia was standing in opposition to me for 21 days. Then behold, Michael, one of the chief of the celestial princes came to me to help me, for I have been left there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to make you understand what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision is in regard to the days yet to come. When he had spoken to me according to these words, I turned my face toward the ground and was speechless. And behold, one who resembled the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spoke and said to him who was standing before me, O my Lord, because of the vision, anguish has come upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can such a weakened servant of my Lord talk with such a being as my Lord? For now there remains no strength in me, nor has any breath been left in me. Then the one Gabriel, whose appearance was like that of a man, touched me again, and he strengthened me. He said, O man, highly regarded and greatly beloved, do not be afraid. Peace be to you. Take courage and be strong. Now when he had spoken to me, I was strengthened and said, Let my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you understand fully why I came to you? Now I shall return to fight against the hostile prince of Persia. And when I have gone, behold, the prince of Greece is about to come. But I, Gabriel, will tell you what is inscribed in the writing of truth. There is no one who stands firmly with me and strengthens himself against these hostile spirit forces except Michael, your prince, the guardian of your nation. I love in this chapter how it talks about Daniel being comforted, and how it clearly states that the one who comforted Daniel was an angel, was Gabriel, and how he touched him and comforted him and gave him strength. I love that God loves us so much that he has angels available to us to strengthen us and to minister to us. So I just love that. Thank you so much again for being here and for listening, and I hope that this relaxed you in some way, but more importantly, maybe that you got something out of the reading through Daniel, through prayer and fasting, how it really does, from my personal experience from prayer and fasting over the years, it has, it can bring breakthrough. It has brought breakthrough in my life in certain areas where you may be struggling. And so through prayer and through kind of fasting is like you're not doing things that you would normally do, like eat certain foods that you would normally eat, or maybe watch as much TV or movies. It's kind of like putting your flesh under subjection and crucifying your flesh so that your spirit man can be built up, and you can hear God in more clearly. If you've never fasted and you would like to try it, I would really encourage you to try it. It's not too late. I know we start at the beginning of the month, but we're only a weekend, so if you feel led to do it, I would encourage you to do it because it will change your life. I know it's changed mine. So I hope this encouraged you and you were able to sit back and relax in some way. So I will just see you in the next video. Bye-bye.